Hi folks, I'm the Bald Guy, and these are Bald Guy Basics. In the last couple of years, I have kind of gotten into making knives. I do not do the forging. I usually buy knife blanks and I shape them on the grinder and on the belt sander. But here's one of the very first knives I made. I don't know which one was the absolute first, but this was a very early knife. And all I did really here, I did some shaping of the metal and then I made a handle. But as you look closely, I want you to see the shine on here, or perhaps the lack of shine. Hard doing this with one hand. There is some oxidation on this blade, and what I had done is I had run it through the belt sander with a fine grit of sandpaper, but it's still sandpaper, and then simply put it on the buffer. And like I said, it was one of my first efforts. So if you have some knives that need polishing, and if you happen to have a rotary tool, a Dremel tool of some kind, today is for you. What we're going to do, what I'm going to do, is take a series of buffing wheels. I bought these and they came in a loose pack for like, I don't know, $10, $15 for like 30 or 40, maybe 50 of these buffing wheels. And starting from the red color over to the black, they are a harsher abrasive. None of them are really harsh, but these are harsh enough that I can get just a few sparks off of it. And then going more and more fine abrasive until we get over here to the dark black ones. What I'm going to do is work on one side of this in front of you and show you how you can polish something to a near mirror finish. Now, if you want to spend more money and get even finer abrasives, you can get an absolute mirror finish. But I have no problem telling you what a novice I am. So what I'm going to do is just show you the difference that we can make right here. If I can get there we go. I'm just finger tightening these. So I'm going to have to stand here. And all I'm going to do is try to work this over as methodically as I can. The one thing I'll tell you have to be really careful of is when you're applying your buffing wheel, and this one turns, as you're looking at it, it's going to turn, from my viewpoint, it's clockwise, depending on which side you're looking at it. So when it's spinning, and if I tilt my thing up, I'm going to cut my wheel all to pieces. So I use my little workstation, which is, yes, made out of a furniture leg, but it's really great to have hard wood. And I can buff right up against it, and then when I flip it over, the cutting edge is over here, so I'm spinning away from it, so I won't have that issue. Excuse me. So what I typically do, and you're going to see the change in the metal. All right, now that's with a rough compound. And I'm just, for the sake of time, we'll work on half the knife. That way you can see both halves. So I've done it with my heavier grit. And you're already noticing I'm not the most patient person in the world. There are knife pros that would spend hours doing what I'm doing, and they're going to spend more money for abrasives. You see the edge there. Turn this down so you can hear me. You see the edge where I'm buffing right up here. One of the things you need to realize is you better have on some form of eye protection. Now, I'm wearing glasses, which serves as my eye protection, but what you get is a very fine particulate of this buffing wheel that actually breaks down and sends off kind of a fibrous analogy to sawdust, but the particulate can be very abrasive to the eyes. The other thing I need to tell you about this knife is actually made of Damascus, which is metal that has been folded and layered in the forging process. So I'm going to see some grain. To get that pretty grain to stand out, you have to etch it, which I'm not going to do. But you see what I'm simply doing? I simply go over it usually about twice with each grade of abrasive. Now, I went over that more than twice. What I'm trying to get is as even of a shine or sheen as I possibly can. But it's not going to all come out until, well, with cheap abrasives you get cheap results. I guess I should say that. But they are results that are pleasing to me. I hope that you can see some of that fine grain of the Damascus there. But I'm trying to get as much of the streaks out as I possibly can. Now I'm on my third of 5 levels of abrasive. trying to give you a little angle there so it will reflect. And I usually take longer than this, but for the sake of the video, I'm trying to cut it as short as possible. This is a knife I had put away in a cabinet and had frankly forgotten about. Found it the other day and I said, well, I can do a little polishing here. Touch up the edge here. That's my next to last. So here's my last one. A thing to note, I use light pressure. I find that when I'm pressing down with my grinding wheel, I lose, or my buffing wheel, I lose the buffing material, and you'll feel it. It falls off. That's why I wear old shirts when I do these, because I get a lot of particulate. Now I'm just trying to wipe off. I've got a cloudy spot right here in the middle. Give me another couple of minutes here. Now, it's not finished yet. It's not perfect. There's still some variations, and I'm rushing this for the sake of the video. I'm going to step over here to my standard buffing wheel, just a buffing wheel that's on a grinder, and I'm going to use some of my Hutzel's compound, which is just a wax buffing compound with 3000 grit. Give me just 1 second, and we'll see how we'll go from this to pretty close to a finished product. Just to rub some of the compound, like I say, is a wax, so I'm just buffing some of that wax out of that. Now, be careful when you're buffing. Dropping your tools onto another surface, you can pick up pieces of grit. This is not finished, but you can see the difference here and over here. You can see the difference here. This is the untouched side, and the difference here. So I am well on my way to a mirror finish. Let me, I can't tell where you get the best view, so I'm kind of angling it back and forth. But I've got a really good view of the grain of the Damascus. And yes, there's a little bit of cloudiness. That's I just need to do it for a longer period of time. But some of that cloudiness is the nature of the Damascus itself. You're not going to get the same mirror finish you would get with a carbon steel or even a stainless steel blade. But especially when you look at the difference between here, and I actually buffed it over here with the buffer. So the buffer really does a lot with less than 20 bucks, and that's assuming that you have a Dremel. If you don't have a Dremel, spend another $35 and have a Dremel, and you'll have a pretty good kit to polish. Now, most of you say, hey, I don't make pocket knives. That's cool. But if you've watched some of my earlier sharpening videos and even polishing videos, my first polishing I did by hand. I have knives inherited usually, or some that I bought that are pretty old knives, and they are so worn and so oxidized. In the trade, they would say, oh, that has that beautiful patina, and when you take the patina out, you ruin the knife. Well, I'm generally cleaning them up for my personal use. So, this is an easy way to clean up. The other thing I'll show you here. Here is the buffing wheel I was just using. Here's what happens over time. You lose more and more, and as you lose more and more, when you're a cheapskate, you tend to want to use these as long as you can to get your value out of it. But the longer you use these, the more probability you are incurring a foreign particle in here that is going to leave a scratch. So I throw them into a container over here, and anytime I have something that I want to clean up, that's, say, I'm not polishing, but I'm cleaning, for example, an old tool that has rust, I go to the old ones over there and use them, keep my new ones on. I just found a piece of styrofoam and poked me some holes in it with a ruler, and it makes a nice storage place. So I know which one I'm getting, and I ordered them, so I couldn't remember which color was which level of abrasive. I just arranged them from left to right. So I hope this gives you some ideas of things you can do. This is a really neat way to clean up old tools. I've found tools that go back to the middle of the last century, to the 1950s, and sometimes they have so much buildup on them that they just don't make me happy. And this is a really easy way to clean them up. If you have markings in the tools that have gotten filled up with rust or dirt or something else, it's a nice way to clean them out so you can see your size markings. And it's a really handy thing. Just be absolutely sure that you use eye protection on this. There's a lot that I'll do that I may not be as safety conscious as perhaps in an ideal world you should. This is not one of those areas to kind of cut a corner, if you know what I mean, because even as I was doing this, and I wanted to do this in real time, because now you've got an idea of how long it takes. Tools like this, I saw my doctor this week, and we talked about all the aches and the pains and the joints, and I've dealt with arthritis and gout, and I'm not pleading, I'm not asking for pity here. I'm simply saying, when I start rubbing with hard elbow grease, it hurts. And I pay the price not only while I'm doing it, but usually for quite a while later. Find the right tools that will work for you. And this really has a number of applications. I use it a lot. If you're into any kind of hobbying, where you might need to I used to do a lot of model cars, model trucks, and sometimes not only I didn't buff with it, but sometimes I'd get a Dremel-sized drill bit and maybe drill out little holes, or sometimes put a little cutter on it. And models would have those little pieces of plastic from the molding process where they attached, and I would need to kind of gently shave those off. Man, it's a great tool to have. So this video may be about polishing metal, which it is, but it's also a plug for a decent rotary tool. I've got a Dremel brand around here somewhere. This is a Craftsman, which means somebody else made it. This was my father-in-law's. So this tool is probably 30 years old, 25 to 30 years old at least, and it works great. When you're looking for a Dremel, be aware of the RPM rating, because cheaper Dremels have lower ratings. Higher ratings, higher RPMs will allow you to do more work. This has a scale marked on it from 1 to 5, but I doubt that that's from 1 to 5,000. On my other Dremel, the Dremel brand, the rating is something like, I'd have to look, but it's somewhere between 15 and 20,000 RPMs. When you are using something with really high RPMs, be sure when you buy abrasives to see what they are rated at. cutting wheels, polishing wheels, all of that stuff. If you overspin them, some of them will disintegrate and fly apart. Not a good thing. So, hope you'll leave us a like. Hope you'll subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I would love if you would share these in other places. Obviously, my goal is to grow a channel. I also have a channel on Facebook by the same name, Bald Guy Basics. And from time to time, I'll do little live updates on there. So that's a nice way to keep up. And by the way, if you ever, I love the comments. I absolutely love them. Let me say I've had a couple of occasions where a comment disappeared. I would get a notification, hey, you have a comment. I go look and I can't find it. I'm not sure what's happening there. I think it's something to do with the algorithms of YouTube. So I changed the filter on that, hope that those will come through. But if you would like to leave a comment and you're not sure you're getting through, the easiest way is to go to Bald Guy Basics on the Facebook platform and just use the message link because that comes directly to me. Hope you're having a good day, and we'll see you on the next video.